This is a quick tutorial to show you how to configure the reCaptcha widget for Mendix. The widget that I'm updating is not in the App Store yet, but it is the one that was based or originally developed for Mendix 4. So all you need is a reCaptcha account with Google, where you can get a copy of your site key and your secret key. I'm showing you this one. It's for localhost, so you're not gonna be able to do much with that, but obviously keep your secret key secret. So I've created a new blank project over here, and I'm going to import the module because it's still waiting for approval on the App Store. And this module contains a server-side Java action for verifying your reCaptcha called verify secret, and it contains the reCaptcha widget. This is the most simple configuration, and it gives you the most options. If you choose, you can either configure your site key with the hard-coded string, or you can select an attribute. You can configure the reCaptcha itself, and this does require an entity context. I've gone and created an entity, a non-persistent entity called verification with a response attribute. I could have added the site key here as well, but I chose to hard-code it instead. And then any additional variables that you might require to drive logic on the UI or server-side validation. I just created a boolean called verified that I'll use to conditionally show the reCaptcha widget, and a submit button that you can click after verifying that you are a human and not a robot. So let's go ahead and start with that. I'm gonna put down a data view. I'm going to have to add a data source microflow. So my reCaptcha widget, I only want to show if verified is false. Which is the custom attribute that I added. And inversely so, I want to show you a submit button once you have verified that you are a human. And I'll just call it submit. So there are three mandatory attributes that you need to define, and that is the response. This is the response issued from Google once you've challenged the reCaptcha, and a verification microflow, which you would need to call the Java action that sends off your secret key and the response to Google to do the final verification for the input, and then an onExpire, which is triggered when your reCaptcha expires. So in case you have the kind of Boolean or conditional visibility logic based on a Boolean that I have, on your onExpire you would typically make sure that your verification object is set back to false, and if you want, you can add some validation message here that states that you need to verify that you are a human again. And on the onVerify, all you need to do is send your verification code and your secret and your response off to Google. So my secret key is this one over here. I'm just gonna hard code that, and the response from the verification object. And this microflow needs to return a boolean with the valid verification flag. If it was false, it will trigger a refresh on the UI that will prompt the user to verify again. I'm just gonna, because these two, I don't know if that's gonna compile. I'm just gonna say verified. Sorry, it's my spelling mistake there. So, and I want to change the verification object, because I've got that conditional visibility set, so I can drive the logic on the UI. So this one shows on false, and this one should show on true. Okay, I've got no errors. Let's see how that works. As you can see, I have no reCaptcha. I didn't define my site key. That validation was a bit slow because there is one problem that we have with loading the Google JavaScript file, and that is if your page finished loading before the JavaScript, you might not see the reCaptcha widget. So it might be a good idea just to include that in your index HTML. I can just restart this and reload it again. So there you've got the reCaptcha. All you do is click it. It's going to ask you some random question that only a human can answer. And as you can see, the reCaptcha disappeared and the submit button is now showing. So that was a very, very simple demo. If you have any questions, please email me at hgeldenes@gmail.com. Hope you can capture some robots.